Lavish parties, the power to do whatever you want, whenever and however you want, always surrounded by an outrageous number of models, like shooting down hundreds of drones just for fun. With bikini models cheering around you, or crushing cars under a tank. Or even throwing a naked porn star off a villa roof straight into a pool. Then come the wild, legendary parties, like that one in Los Angeles with baby giraffes as special guests. There are many rich people in the world, but very, very few live like this. So who really is Dan Bilzerian? And more importantly, where does all that money come from? To understand his story, we need to go back in time. Mid-1980s, New York, more precisely, Wall Street. The air reeks of easy money and arrogance. Padded suits, colorful suspenders. It's the era of finance sharks bending every rule to get filthy rich. Among them, one of the smartest, most ruthless players, Paul Bilzerian. In 1982, Paul gained media attention with his aggressive investments, but he wasn't your typical spoiled rich kid. His father was a simple civil servant. His parents divorced when he was still a teenager. Paul later described himself as a juvenile delinquent. He dropped out of school, enlisted, and was deployed to Vietnam. Years later, he became one of the most controversial corporate raiders, investors who buy controlling shares in companies to restructure or dismantle them, selling them off piece by piece for profit. Legal? Yes, but many saw it as a dirty, predatory game. Paul Bilzerian had two sons, Adam and Dan. The media called him brilliant and bold, but on Wall Street, whispers started, suspicions, accusations. He had made over $400 million, building an empire through risk and manipulation. His success led him to create a trust fund for Dan and Adam, both under 10 years old at the time. The value, $12 million. But soon, authorities came knocking. In 1989, he was charged with fraud and SEC violations. The accusation, hiding crucial information during major deals. A big chunk of his wealth had been acquired illegally. He was ordered to pay back his entire net worth, $62 million, and spent 13 months in prison. By 1991, he filed for bankruptcy. He claimed he couldn't pay the government. Everything had gone to debts. But things get murky here. It seems much of the money went to Dan and Adam's trust fund. That fall marked a turning point in Dan's life, a silent trauma that sparked a chain reaction. His father's arrest made him a target at school. "It sucked, man," he said. "You show up and everyone mocks you. Your dad's in prison." It was traumatic, so traumatic that, years later, he seemed to follow the same path. "I got expelled in middle school. I lived with my uncles." Dan enrolled in military school. Later, he returned to public school and made a dumb decision that landed him in jail. "I was jailed during my senior year. Never had a real graduation. What for?" At 17, he was expelled. In the trunk of his car, a machine gun and a shotgun. Still, his father's shadow loomed. Seeking discipline, or redemption, Dan joined the military. His goal? Become a Navy SEAL. During training, I ran too much. He got stress fractures. Both legs broke during a jump. His military career ended before it began. A devastating failure that, in hindsight, he'd call a disguised blessing. At 22, he left the Army and enrolled in college. That's where he discovered his true weapon, poker. "My brother taught me how to play. Then I started online. In college, some frat guys were good. Gave me tips." Adam Bilzerian, his older brother, was a pro. Dan, meanwhile, got $6,000 from his military discharge. With that money, he sat down at the tables. "I also got some vet benefits and scholarships. I was doing okay for a student, but after a year, he'd lost it all. Next move? Obvious. Sell 3 guns to keep gambling. Yeah, sold 3 guns to keep playing. Took that money and hit a gambling boat. Sounds like a desperate cliche, But that moment changed his future. Sold the guns for $750. Gambled on that boat for a week. Turned $750 into 10 grand. Then went to Vegas. Played 3 weeks straight. Turned 10,000 into 187,000. I'll never forget it. From there, at least according to him, his poker rise was unstoppable. I beat one guy for 54 million and yeah. But these claims sparked huge skepticism. His skills were questioned by real pros. Many showed he was actually terrible, which raised more doubts about where his wealth truly came from. His alleged poker career continued until 2010, when at 30, by his account, he was already a millionaire. That's when his lifestyle truly took off. In 2011, he broke up with his Playboy model girlfriend and moved to LA. Then I said, you know what? F it. I'm single. I've got a ton of things on my bucket list. I'm just gonna do it. But there's one major puzzle piece. In 2011, Dan finally gained access to his multi-million-dollar trust fund. He could access it at 30. He later claimed he only took a tiny piece, giving the rest away. Didn't need it, he said. Didn't care. I just took a bit and gave the rest. But that's hard to believe, especially since in another interview, he claimed he didn't take any and gave it all to his brother. Did you get a trust fund from your dad? Yeah, but I gave it to my brother. Confusing, contradictory statements raise more questions than answers and deepen the mystery. Where does the money really come from? Regardless of where the money came from, in 2011, Dan was single, loaded, and ready to do whatever he pleased. That's when he started posting wild photos on a photo-sharing app, Instagram. It all began in May 2012. Was it a bigger plan? Or just for fun? No, man. It was never meant to be famous. Just doing my thing. Took some pics. Also kinda a middle finger to my ex. A joke, but also a strategy. I wanted to look like a rich idiot. Didn't want to be the guy hanging with poker players. Wanted people to think I sucked, so I could bait them into playing me. It was also a flex. Maybe to impress, maybe to score some girls. At first, the posts were innocent. Vacations, classic cars, time with his brother, feeding chickens. But things evolved. Then came bikini models, stacks of cash, guns, private jets. Dan was building, post by post, an untouchable lifestyle. Naturally, people got curious. Who's this bearded guy living like a teenage millionaire, surrounded by gorgeous women, and posting just for fun? Questions exploded. Is it all fake? Does he pay the girls? Is there something deeper here? That curiosity lit the fuse. Dan's daily madness spread like wildfire. Every post, every photo, every video, viral. As the posts got crazier, the followers grew, and with the absurdity came the fame. Dan's early Instagram stats show that by April 2014, just 2 years in, he already had 1.34 million followers. A year later, April 2015, 7.5 million. Then, 16 million. In just 4 years, Dan went from unknown poker player to what the media called the king of Instagram. Then, in September 2018, a turning point. Dan was at his peak, 24 million followers, a global fan base. And yet, not a single sponsored post. No brand deals, no promos, zero ads. For years, it was just chaos and showmanship. Pure entertainment. But things were about to change. Dan no longer wanted to be just Instagram royalty. He wanted an empire. Enter Ignite, a brand selling luxury, excess, and recklessness. Cannabis, energy drinks, vapes, all built around his lifestyle. Finally, a way to turn likes into millions. So in September 2018, Ignite was born. Within months, it made nearly $2 million in sales and went public. Dan Bilzerian, from Instagram star to public company CEO. But while everything seemed unstoppable, cracks started showing. Dan's rocket-fueled climb began heading downhill. Subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Stock dropped from $2.50 to 54 cents. An 80% collapse. $43 million in operating losses. Just in 2019. Curtis Heffernan, ex-Ignite president, was fired. Company funds were used on absurd expenses. A $65,000 Star Wars set, a $75,000 paintball field, $26,000 to boost Instagram followers.